me and Maureen are here to talk about our old summer school experience, which took place between the 24th and 27th June this year at the University of Warwick, which is situated near Coventry in the UK. So as you can imagine, the UK trip came with many expectations, uncertainty, and excitement. And hopefully today we can make it clear how it all unfolded. So how did we get involved in the summer school? HEFMA partnered with AUDE to offer two deserving HEFMA members the opportunity to participate at the prestigious summer school. The selection of the delegates were made after an application process and selection process by HEFMA. So what is AUDE? AUDE is the Association of University of Directors of the State, which is based in the UK. It has approximately 1,200 members across 167 higher education institutions in the UK and 6 international institutions, including HEFMA. The easiest way to describe AUDE is that it's the British version of HEFMA. The aim of AUDE is to ensure that university estates provides value for money and contributes positively to the staff and student experience. What is the summer school then? It's a program tailored by AUDE for aspiring directors of a state in the higher education sectors. It covers a wide range of topics or plenaries that affects the higher education as well as the facilities management sectors. The inaugural event for the summer school took place in 2018, and me and Maureen attended the second one in 2019. What is the summer school? So the summer school is an interactive training program tailored by AUDE to develop skills of aspiring young directors of a state. It covers a wide range of topics, especially in the higher education and facilities management sectors. Summer school provides a great platform for like-minded individuals to interact, as well as creates opportunity to network, as we all can acknowledge how important networking can be, especially when we land up in sticky situations at our work. What is the format of the summer school? It took place over 4 days in the English summer. I have to reiterate English summer because if any of you plan to go, please carry your jacket. It's really cold out there. The school basically covers 13 plenary topics delivered by industry leaders who are all experts in their field, and it's a really great opportunity to listen to these guys with their wealth of knowledge. At the start of the school, all the delegates are separated into into groups with multiple group tasks and deliverables. The beauty of the summer school is that the learning doesn't end after the summer school, and the delegates are tasked with the group project that continues throughout the year. And the incentive is that the best project will be able to present at the AUDE annual conference, which takes place late in 2020. So we are currently Skyping every Friday with group members across the different countries and different time zones, which is very difficult. But I think it gives us great satisfaction once we start to see your project take shape, and after the battle of ideas for your project, after that you really get a great satisfaction moving forward after that. So the topic for our major group project was delivering integrated facilities within a more efficient and sustainable estate. And as you can see, our presentations will be due by February 2020 this year. So this is just a picture of the venue where the summer school took place, and that's Mr. Craig Noel, who is the AUDE chair. I think some of you might recognize him from last year's HEFMA conference out in Namibia. So I'm just going to hand you over now to my colleague Maureen, who will be able to tell you more about the experiences.
Good morning, colleagues. I'm getting a little bit stressed because I don't see myself in the picture. Avi. All right. As alluded by Avi in the previous slides, was that there were many expectations and uncertainties and excitement when we visited the UK. The thinking was, this is the UK, a first world region with first world problems. To my surprise, there were no first world problems when it came to our industry. I found that we experience the same challenges and problems, and if anything, our environment may have even subconsciously equipped us to better manage these challenges. Needless to say, when you interact with an open mindset, you're subject to learn a thing or two. Now, in reference to the plenaries, as indicated by my colleague in the initial slide, was that these are the plenary sessions that took place during the HEFMA conference or workshop. The topics were as follows in the order that's listed there. The first topic was commercialization of estate, making the best use of space, corporate and civic partnerships, how to build a new university, leading your facilities organization through the age of accelerating change by Mr. Don Gerkirk, who happens to be sitting here with us today. So we're so fortunate to be around yourself again and that you will be presenting to us again. Influencing the lead board, high education policy in turbulent political times, wicked problems and leaderships, develop yourself and save your university money in addition to providing student and staff satisfaction, master planning a university campus collaboratively. What does health and safety compliance mean to a director of estates? Inspiring people to create a world-class estate, the mindful leader, and the last one, presenting the impact of each. On this one, I don't think myself and my colleague, we've learned much on it, presenting with impact, because we're still panicking when we're supposed to present to people. So, yeah. And I wonder if you can guess which ones inspired us most on the list. I just chose the two as lesson learned to just elaborate to everybody else. So I just want somebody to just guess which of the two you thought inspired us most. No. All right, we were inspired by commercialization of estates, leading your facilities organization through the age of accelerating change. Last night, when I was busy with the presentation, I thought to myself, because now leading your facilities organization is presented by Don Gerkirk, and I was thinking, perhaps maybe I should omit the portion because it's very difficult presenting your opinion on somebody else's presentation who happens to form part of the HEFMA conference today. But I later thought to myself, why should I do that? Because it's a lesson learned to me, and then he can decide whether we were good or bad students. All right. I will start with the commercialization part of it. It was presented, this is an extract from Robert Ganesh, presentation director of commercial services. What triggered my mind was just this topic: delivering diverse, thoughtful, and engaging services to enable a world-class experience and to deliver value for the university. They manage their infrastructure not so much as an expense, but rather as an investment. Infrastructure comes at a premium, and they ensure that every cent counts. Commercialization of their infrastructure is part of the motive for building it in the first place. So it brought in a lot of questions in my mind. The status quo currently encapsulates the fact we build against cost, not norms, as a checklist, and fit for purpose, not always looking at the commercial side of infrastructure that can be built to serve the intended purpose and create a need for the community with monetary value. Beyond creating spaces that are usable to the university community, the thinking is to also create spaces that are in demand or create the demand thereof as means to generate third stream income. In the long run, these spaces are meant to become self-reliant and take care of their own maintenance. To a great degree, I found this as the biggest gap between our institutions and those in UK. So going forward, we've got to rethink our spaces beyond the immediate campus needs, but also along the lines of what does the city or the community as a whole need, and how can we harness our resources to meet these needs. By adopting such thinking, I believe we should be able to provide better and more efficient buildings. Currently, our designs from a greening perspective are still very much subdued by available funding. However, if our business cases can motivate the need versus possible income, we could create first world buildings in a third world country. Also adopted was this slide from Mr. Robert Ganesh. He did not think of the resources out of the norm, but rather the resources that each university has. The question is how efficiently the resources are to the university. This is the starting point, colleagues. Moving on to the next slide is that of Mr. Don Gurkett. What triggered my mind was this slide. Technological change is picking up speed, but human capacity is struggling to keep up. It brought in a lot of questions in my mind. These are the questions that, or thinking, or comments that I had in my mind. Forgetting the status quo, actively adopting the new normal. Artificial intelligence, automating systems and building capacity. Leading facilities through the age of accelerating change is going to require deliberate, conscious, and actively seeking a new normal. That would entail thinking design versus building feasibility. We need to wander beyond cost norms as a defined way of developing facilities, but rather as a baseline or platform to build upon. There's an increase in building facilities that fit within the boundaries, but how often are the boundaries revisited, evaluated, or reviewed? Do they encourage innovation or rather act as a checklist? In leading accelerated change, all systems and processes should be reviewed to determine if they allow for change to be adapted to or accommodated naturally, or whether current processes act rather as an obstacle or hindrance to environmental need. What triggered me as well were leaders of the future, managers, and organizational change specialists. Workforce skills, upskilling for survival. Leadership skills, my opinion about this is that leadership skills that will play an important role during this increasingly technological world is by far organizational change management skills. These skills should inform the need for change and how current resources need to be upskilled to meet the needs of the work environment. And where not possible, new personnel will need to be brought into the organization. From a technological perspective, the maturity of the organization will dictate what computing direction the organization takes. Should the university or department depend highly on artificial intelligence? The department may need in-house system administrators that continuously check the health of the compute environment. For an example, a building management system running in the cloud can't give feedback if the virtual machine instance is down. Thus, they need to continuously check the health of the system and any errors logged. The same goes for artificial intelligence. If a lot of the processes are automated through artificial intelligence, it will be necessary to determine the level of reliability required, and that can dictate additional in-house workforce skills required. What fascinated me most again was just this slide. There's nothing to say about this slide. It means what it means. Our job is not to prepare employees for something. Our job is to help employees prepare themselves for anything. Right, we will just move to the slide of the experience between myself and my colleague here.
So me and Maureen, it was the first time that we both experienced a university out of the country. So everything for us was exciting. We were like sponges, absorbing everything. Going to customs, getting searched 1,000 times was also quite good. Can't complain about those things right now. Yes.
The UK accent, I never knew that English could be so difficult for me. The UK accent was very challenging because I had to sit with a person face to face for me to understand what he was saying because the language is fast. So I thought I knew English, but until I got there, no, I know nothing of English. All right.
And I think the best part of our trip was basically experiencing the foreign campuses and what they had to offer. So just want to show a few pictures of some of the buildings. This was our favorite building.
Again, I'm not in the picture.
So basically it's an innovation hub where they test things like car engines and stuff like that. So you're not even allowed to take any photos in there. There's a lot of prototypes and stuff. Then below, just general pictures of what we thought was nice. We really enjoyed this sort of campus.
If I could just add on the building, the innovative building, that one, the cost of that building is £100 million. So that, I just thought we could never get to that even if we tried. We were also fascinated by small things, just the hoarding around the site, an active site. It's so tidied up, it's so clean, everything else was just fascinating. There's nothing that is outside the norm as far as facilities management and infrastructure development is concerned, whether be it you are international or be it whether you are in South Africa, because just even as simple as waste bin is the same as what we could get in South Africa as well. We were also fascinated by the signage, clear signage as far as the site is concerned. So this is what we got up to, myself and my colleague, and I just hope that we gave you a bit of insight in terms of what we experience in HEFMA, and we would in AUDE, and we would like to thank HEFMA for the opportunity that was granted. And in the process of a project, or when you're running the race, you need to finish the race regardless of the challenges that you may face as a person in the process. We may have been facing the challenges as far as communicating with our colleagues outside there, but we are bold enough to can complete what we started, and we will complete what we started with pride. Thank you so much.
Thank you.